of blackened earth, cold concrete and rusted steel, the measure of our worth. The grit is in the marrow, the dawn is in the bone. We're building up a kingdom on a foundation we have known. Oh, we are the backbone of America, caught from the deep. The promises we made are the ones that we keep. Hard-line endurance under the sun, a heartbeat that finishes what it's begun. We are the backbone of America, steel and gray. Stand tall. Stand tall.
This segment is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Welcome. This is the Made in America show here on the King's Broadcasting Network. We want to welcome all of our audience that's switching over to us from the Invent America show. And want to welcome all of you. That's all our affiliates that's now tuning into the show. And I'd like to welcome the co-host, the inventor lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Miss Rita, we have a whole brand new, we have an additional audience coming in, and it's so great for you to be back. And we had a 2-week hiatus, and as we all celebrate our American 250th birthday, you know?
Thank you so much for having me. And it is always an honor to host Made in America, because now we get to tell the stories of the people that are making stuff right here in our own backyard. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, because we went from, the theme that we all experienced this weekend to America. And I was watching Fox News, and they had like 5 or 6 companies that were featured in their their news broadcast. So Made in America companies that were making American products, which I thought was great by then. But, Rita, me and you've been doing this a long time. They're finally catching up to us, don't they? But
that's right.
We've been talking about Invent America, Made America, Home Talk America. I mean, if it has to do with technology, if it has to do with your home, if it has to do with construction, or just basic American manufacturing here in the United States, this is the show. What we cover here is amazing. Some of these great guests that we got coming on, and I'm excited because just shortly we're going to have Jason Hammerback will be on, and he's going to talk about his experiences. And Rita, that's what it's all about, hearing from
Absolutely.
These guys. And
I think what a lot of, we hear so much about manufacturing overseas that there is still a lot right in our own backyard. And the more we honor the folks that are doing the work right here in our own backyard and make it visual so they know to look for it, then the more manufacturing will come back. And I think we're starting to see that pendulum swing a little bit now, back in the other direction, because, the whole tariff issue, the cost of shipping, the different holidays that, have people out for 30 days. And for some products, that doesn't work very well. But also a combination of what can be made overseas, all right, at a better price point, and what has to be made in America for safety, security, and just transportation issues. So we're seeing a lot of that now start to shift, and we want to be part of the shift.
Well, it's amazing. We talked about this in the past. The biggest problem I have is not that, we do recognize that some of the component parts that we don't produce here in the United States, which is fine, but assembly is where we focus on, me and you. Assembly, that's the key. How we get to assembly, that's what, I don't really care how you get to there, as long as we can put it together here in the United States. But what doesn't make no sense to me is we talked about taking the raw materials here, right?
Right.
Which you could buy a lot cheaper. Then you ship it overseas to put it together, and we buying back the same materials that we ship.
Yep.
That doesn't make sense.
I know. I mean, I told you about the lady that did the flagpole where she wanted it made in America. And we
Yeah.
ended up, it was going to be $175 to make a flagpole. So we got pricing overseas. It was going to be $6.75, and it came packaged and dropped on a pallet. Okay. And they were shipping the aluminum from America to China to make it. To me, that's just bizarre. It's just bizarre.
Well, you know what I said last hour, and I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to take some heat, but I'm going into the archives. You know, people don't realize that we're up to almost 1,200 episodes now. I think 1,204. We're preaching, approaching 1,204 episodes. That's a lot of content. Well, I'm going to go back 20, 25 years, and I'm going to pull some of them old archives, and we're going to do a best of show of me preaching to the CEOs of America. I'm going to preach to him. Reverend Mike is coming out of retirement, and I am going to play what I predicted, what I said was going to happen. I mean, you were with me back in the early days. You wasn't, part of the show, but you came on many times, and you saw the bullets that I took by standing up we can't sponsor your show. I mean, I lost sponsors. I didn't even know how I was going to stay on the air. But you know what? Sometimes you have to have sacrifice, and you have to do the right thing. And I knew that these idiots, and and I'm going to call them idiots, because what's amazing, I would say about 98% of them not even CEOs of these companies anymore, and they fired them, or the board of directors got rid of them because they did a lot of stupid things. And but I want to play some of them rants and some of these predictions that I think people need to hear how far this show is and what we predict here on this show, because everybody says, well, what makes you think you're the expert in all this? You're not Rush Limbaugh and he's right 99.5. No, I'm not right 99.5. But what this show does have is a thing that we all ask people to have. Is common sense. If you got common sense, you can cure a lot of things going on. And I think that's it. Just have a little common sense.
Yeah. Practical common sense.
Don't destroy the American worker. Don't destroy your community. Because remember, me and you did shows in the past. We said, okay, let's compare to a city that has manufacturing, and look at the infrastructure, look at the quality of life, look at the tech space, right?
Right, absolutely. You've got a factory that's in a small community, and that community thrives off of the trickle down. All right, because those folks go out and they buy food, and they go out and they shop at the different stores, and they buy the cars from the local dealership. And without that factory that is providing all of that infrastructure just to the community, it makes a difference. And I know that that's one of the things that Darter Plastics does, is they really look out for their employees and make their employees whole.
Well, but what people need to realize, these factories are no longer bounded by the industrial-based states. Now, I'm not picking on the blue states, but I'm picking on, I am picking on them, okay?
Let's be honest. Let's be honest,
okay? I try to be nice. I try to can't call it. But, the industrial belt of this country was in the blue states, Michigan, Illinois. Well, Ohio is flipping back and forth, but I'm going to give Ohio the benefit of the doubt. But here's the point I'm trying to make it. They got to wake up, because American manufacturing is not bounded by their, look at Texas. Look at Florida. Look at your state, Tennessee, setting examples over and over, and says, maybe I need to look at Tennessee and go there. Why? Well, number one is tax structure is great.
Yeah.
You have a personal state income tax.
Right.
You get to bring listen to this. I get to bring home my paycheck. Wow. The point I'm trying to make is that they want to know why Florida and Texas and, unfortunately, my state of Louisiana is a red state, but unfortunately, I'm on the outs with them right now, because even though they're red, they operate blue. You see, in my state, if people knew they were blue, they would never vote for them. So I'm always on the outs with them, because they kind of hide behind the red banner. sounds familiar in some like Kentucky and places like that. Now,
Yeah,
does that sound familiar?
It is out there, but I am very proud to be in Tennessee, where we are very clear that we are red and proud to be red. And, so yay, go Tennessee.
Well, the point is that you're not bounded. American manufacturing not bounded to the industrial states anymore. You can locate
Yeah. Oh,
pretty
absolutely.
much, and that's the point, because these states are now like Mississippi. Mississippi was part of the poorest. They are poor. It's a poor state. Well, look what's happening to Mississippi. They're restructuring their tax base. Wow, the Mercedes plant is now in Mississippi. This plant is now in Mississippi. So the point I'm trying to make is that it could take a state like Mississippi and put their people really in good positions. Well, we're going to have to take a short break. Boy, I just got the cue in the ear. This is the Made in America show. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with the ventilator Rita Crumpton. We'll be right back. Yay! Don't go nowhere yet.
This segment is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Welcome back. This is the Made in America show here on the King's Broadcasting Network. I want to welcome all of you back, along with the inventor lady herself, Miss Rita Crumpton. Miss Rita, I know I'm excited to have Jason on the show. First time he's been on, but hey, we have to pay some bills here. So who's helping us pay some bills here?
Well, thank you very, very, very much. And our sponsor for this segment is RPB Law Offices. RPB Law Offices has been bringing corporate level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. So for all of your inventing needs, trust RPB Law Offices. You can reach out to them directly, or you can reach out to me. Whether it's intellectual property, contracts, anything. If you are an inventor and you need some legal help, give RPB Law Offices a call. And my guest for this episode is Jason Hammerback. He is the president and CEO of Darter Plastics. Jason, thank you so much for being on with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell our listeners, Darter Plastics, how long has it been around and what do you do?
So I'm a little bit jealous after the last segment because I'm coming right from the center of a blue state. We'll be successful in spite of the government, not because of the government. But,
there you go. There you go.
So Darter Plastics has been around since 1985. It was started with a husband and wife, Daryl and Terry. That's how they got the name Darter. And then it was purchased by my former boss. In 1989, I came aboard in 1997 as an engineering intern. Just wanted to get a few years of experience. And then in 2008, I decided to buy the business, which was not a great year to decide to buy a business. But I guess through the experience, it was better to go through those tough years right away than have 5 amazing years. So made the buyout work, owned it 1 year by myself, and then brought aboard business partner in the beginning of 2013. So we've owned it since then. But here in Minnesota, Becker, Minnesota, 45 minutes northwest of the Twin Cities, we've got 18 employees right now, but we've had as many as 56 in 2 locations before the downturn in 2008. So we're doing about the same revenue with 18 people, including myself and the other owner.
All right. So what does Darter Plastics do?
We are primarily a custom injection molding company, so we make plastic parts. But when we've got them in-house, we like to do as much as we can with them. So if it's pad printing, decorating, adding decals, assembly, packaging, you name it, we like to do as much as we can, and takes headaches away from our customers as well. For different steps that they need to hire out, we can be a one-stop shop.
What are some different products that you are doing?
So our biggest products, other than the ones that we've purchased that we can get into later, are parts for Cummins generators. They were down in Fridley, Minnesota, and then Manitowoc Ice over in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. They've both moved most of their production to Mexico now, but we're still producing the parts for them. So we do about 1,000 to 2,500 ice probes a week for commercial ice machines that basically tell it when to fill with water, when to stop filling, and then we'll test the hardness of it. So
Interesting. All right. So how did, I guess, the Darters, all right, Mr. and Mrs., what was their inspiration? How did they get started? I mean, it's not something that you think about in, the fifth grade. I think I'll grow up and own a plastics company.
no, it's not. And I think typically it was a little bit of kind of like the Wild West back in that day, where you either stole the product from someone or had an idea, or you decided, hey, if we're outsourcing this, why don't I buy a press and I can start my own injection molding company? So, and people would try to make molds so they'd only work in their presses. Really, everything is now quite universal, but they basically started in their garage, just had a couple fishing products that they started with back in the day.
Okay. So what kind of
Owners have come in, then they added to it, added customers, had salespeople, sales teams, different things like that to grow the business.
Interesting. Okay, so you started out with some, simple fishing products, and now you make products for ice machines?
Yes, ice machines, Cummins power generation, Articat snowmobiles, all kinds of different customers out there. So from really big long run stuff to someone that just orders, they have a little knickknack and we make a carrot nose for a little fuzzy snowman, basically. So lots of different things.
So when we talk about, we always are looking at, the community that you're in, and how you relate then to that community and your employees. So what is the community outreach and your role in the community? How do you guys see that?
I think it's very important to give back to your community. The mayor and city council here weren't always so business friendly, but they've really changed over the last 15, 20 years. And you can see that in the industrial parks and all that, where there is other businesses coming here. They're loosening up some of the rules, so you don't need to have a precast concrete building, all these different things. We're a wrinkled tin shed here, basically, but just having that, because you can get your employees. So we're very involved with the high school robotics team. So that was one of the big things that we like to fund, and we've got a silo outside that's right along the highway that we actually have them above our name for the logo for the high school robotics team. But when you see how those kids are learning, and it's different than when I went back to school, it's they kind of run it like a business. So we're very proud to sponsor those groups.
Yeah, things change over the decades, and what you and I did when we were in school, is certainly different than, your kids in school or, the community. And they look a lot more for the community sponsors to do things.
Yes, they do. Yep.
Yeah, I noticed,
and even for me, I grew up in a small town 10 miles from Canada up here, Roseau, the home of Polaris. So there was big industries in those small areas, which affected us as a student. They were funding machine shops in the high school. So we got to go to tours to Polaris or Marvin Windows. And that's really what kind of lit the spark in my brain as, hey, I want to make stuff, I come from my grandparents and great grandparents were farmers or blacksmiths, and my dad was a carpenter, and now I'm a plastics guy.
But you're still making things. I mean, I think about, with my grandfather, he was very much the entrepreneur and, survived through the Depression and everything. But everybody in the family worked, from the kids and the grandkids and everybody. It's like, okay, Saturday afternoon, everybody is out feeding the dogs, feeding the chickens, and doing what they need to do. So when we look at the communities now and how you interact with the schools and everything, it's sponsoring things so kids can get out there and learn.
Yes, and we also have a neighboring town that brought their industrial tech class through. I kind of got a small glimpse into what it's like to be a teacher, where you have, 10 students that are not paying any attention and 1 or 2 or 3 that are really paying attention, but
Yep.
it's worth it giving the tours just to show them what we do here.
So, well, I'll tell you my secret on dealing with that. As soon as we come back, we're going to go and pay a couple of bills, everybody, and stick with us. We will be right back for more Made in America. If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Made in America. Because you know what? We need it. We make it right here in our own backyard. Made in America. And this segment is brought to you by Product Quick Start. Noah McNeely is the CEO and founder of Product Quick Start. If you are an inventor out there and you need a prototype done, Product Quick Start is where you want to go. So my guest for this episode of Made in America is Jason Hammerback with Darter Plastics. So Jason, what do you guys see as your, I was gonna fill you in on, when I'm doing the talking and somebody starts looking at their watch, I ask them the very next question. And I give them a heads up. As soon as you look at your watch or your phone, you're the next one. And I'm going to, get your attention. So, people start, it's like, okay, she's going to call on me. And my grandsons always know, never say to grandma out loud, I am bored. Because the next thing they know is how to clean the toilet. So,
Yes.
Shoot. So, with you guys, what do you see as your biggest challenge?
I think right now it's back to pricing again. We went through that with COVID, and after the Iran attack, now we saw more price increases coming. Not directly that they said were affected here in the States, but Europe had lost a lot of their capacity, so they bought up our plastic. So price increases right now. For a long time there, it was finding good people. We don't have a problem finding good people anymore. So that's one problem gone for us. So that's good.
Well, that is good. And so, do you see that, kind of shift as the politics shifts and, the different things going on in the world shift? Does that come up and down as far as pricing goes?
It does, but not surprisingly, prices always go up quicker than they come back down. So we see it on the horizon, they'll come down, but there's also some opportunity pricing where someone's gouging just because they can, or they get a little sniff that they can probably sneak a price increase through. For myself and our customers, our increases when we've had to pass them along are easier for our customers to swallow since COVID. It kind of, I think, changed people's mindset when they're paying $20 for a hamburger. So that's made it easier for us. It's just more, I think, the government regulation, all the different forms you've got to fill out, especially coming after plastics. We're the bad guys in a lot of their eyes, but you can't really live without plastic. So we try to be good stewards of the industry and all the products that we do make and create.
Do you do more importing for products or exporting for things that are made?
Be exporting. We don't import a lot. We've got 2 products. One is a little steel pin for those probes that is required to order from Taiwan. But just like you guys were saying in the first segment, we have a lot of circuit boards that go into those power generators. So we're molding a circuit board here. It gets sent over to China or Singapore, where they'll put the circuit board in, pot it, and send it back here to Minnesota or Mexico. So there's a lot of things getting shipped around where you'd think it'd just be cheaper to source it all in one place, but it's not.
The challenges on that, that level for you dealing with, all of the international governments. Is it for our listening audience, is there a bigger challenge in dealing with a variety of governments? Are they all different, or do you go through basically one spot that deals with all of the junk?
For the most part, they are coming more online. So there's companies like Ascent that help standardize your responses. But in the past, it was more kind of a one-on-one. If you're going to this country, you've got to deal with these circumstances. So, but I think that's being more standardized, so that's been helpful.
Well, and that's good. I mean, we get a lot of, AI these days, and artificial intelligence is artificial. It can be really stupid. And so you've got to be careful. And we laugh about some of the things that we see. It's like, wait, what? And then there's times when it is wonderful to be able to have something that can generate those forms and fill everything in for us.
And have a place to bounce ideas off. So I've been a member of a manufacturing peer council for over 15 years now, and they've really become like my board, where it's it's all people in manufacturing, different industries. So you might hear something and ask in our monthly meeting what's going on. So that's been kind of one of the biggest things, to be able to bounce ideas off or see someone that already went through that problem before. That's been a great resource for us and for me personally.
So over the years, have you seen the plastics manufacturing really take a hit in this country, or do you see it starting to grow back?
I think it's starting to grow back, and I think we'll see where all the tariffs end up. My initial thought was, because of all the molds being built in China for a quarter of what they are here, we like to still buy. I have 3 other shops that I use in Minnesota to build our molds, but I think there's some potential there for some of that work to move back, but I don't know how quickly it'll happen.
So when molds, do you see a lot of places where the mold is made overseas and then brought back for the manufacturing of the product?
Yes, that is what I'm seeing more as the norm, rather than having the molding done over there. They'll get the mold built over there, and we've done that with some of our customers. We do have contacts over there. Eventually had to go along to get along, because it's just so tough to get those jobs, and we're not interested in making money off the mold. We want to mold the parts and have the relationship and go forward with long-term production.
And that makes so much sense. I mean, I see a lot of the inventors I work with where they will get a mold made in China and then have it shipped over here. And a lot of times when we license a product out, they will actually pay them to have the mold shipped to their facility, so that they're able to, just pick it up and run with it instead of starting over and charging, eating the expense, because at that point, then they're eating the expense. They'd rather ship the mold. And at that point, the inventor would rather say, I don't care where you ship that mold from, as long as you're paying me the royalties.
Correct. Yep.
So do you work with very many inventors that are just getting started?
I do. We've had some products. I haven't had one of those home runs off of it, but I know that we've helped some people out. Some are still working. It's I think very rewarding to them to come up, solve a solution, have a great idea, but they realize it can be very tough to sell. You've got to get it in front of the right people or go viral. Or I always tell them, you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't get it in front of the right people, you might not sell any. And then you have the pet rock people that could sell rocks to people. So it kind of depends on where you're at and who you're talking to.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's so funny because somebody will say, well, what do you think of my idea? And I've had to learn. It's like, okay, in my mind, it goes into the pet rock category, and I'm not going to buy one, but a lot of people did.
Yes.
And then it's really about the story you tell to get them to, give you $5 for a rock.
Correct.
That you could have painted a face on yourself and had more fun. But, hey, that's just my opinion on it. But, we see that a lot of, there are some products that come across our desk that are amazing products. And for the independent inventor, it's really impossible for them to get the leverage they need to be able to, start selling it, getting it manufactured, and there's so many challenges for them. And so, with you and what you're doing right now, I want to be able to ask you when we come back from this break, what do you see as the greatest challenges that you're working with, and what have you conquered and what's still to come? So stick with us, everybody. We're going to run off and pay some bills, but I want to let everybody know, if you are working for someone who's making stuff in America and you think they would be a good guest on the radio, please have them get in touch. There are 52 Mondays a year that I am looking for a guest to be on the radio. And so would love to have a new guest on the radio. And if you yourself have got an idea and you would like to think about being an inventor, also get in touch. I get people all the time that call me, dial my number, and they go, you answered the phone. It's like you are calling me. So yes, I answered the phone. My phone number is 303-910-8889. They are going to etch that on the side of my casket. I am taking it with me. So as we run off to pay some bills, everybody, you know what? Stick with us. We're going to be back with Jason Hammerback and finishing up the story today on Darter Plastics and some of the great things that American manufacturers are doing. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
True Up, the easiest way to hang your pictures. We all know how stressful picture hanging can get. True Up comes with everything you need to level and hang pictures with no damage and no mess. Just peel, apply the adhesive to the back of the True Up mount and press firmly. Remove the remaining adhesive. Use the level and press and hold for 3 to 5 seconds to attach the True Up mount to your wall with a strong hold. The True Up frame adapter is compatible with most frames on the market. Apply the adhesive strip to the adapter, stick, and your frame hangs easily on the wall mount. This lets you adjust your picture side to side for perfect placement every time. The possibilities are limitless, and it's easy on your walls. Picture hanging can be truly a one-person job. True Up, the future of hanging is here.
Everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Made in America. We need it, we make it right here in our own backyard. It's our version of Inventing 2.0. My guest for this segment is Jason Hammerback, President and CEO of Darter Plastics. Jason, what do you feel like has been the greatest accomplishment that you've seen since you've taken over, and what is your biggest challenge?
I think they're basically tied together. It's been acquiring new customers and new sales. And what we found over the last 10 years is we've bought up some of our customers, some of their products, and a couple of smaller companies in the area to kind of diversify. But as we've done that, we've got now our own products that we sell. So that's been an interesting knowledge curve to try to navigate that. Especially over the last couple of years when we bought a rain gauge company that was our 5th largest customer, and they've got some ancillary products for fishing that go with that. But basically, it was a rain gauge that was invented in 1970 by a meteorologist, and we sell 20 to 25,000 a year. We were molding them since 1998. Now it's our own product. So those have been the things that have been fun to see, because you gain margin with those types of things, but you also gain more control over your own destiny. I'm not so reliant on orders coming in. I have my own product that I can work and sell and try to find new customers that way.
So you've got some, you're not just making other people's products, you're making some of Darter's Plastics' own products and selling them.
Correct. And it's basically now it's probably up to a third of our business. Of selling our own products, so that's been very rewarding.
So what do you sell?
So, and you can check them out on our website, darterproducts.com. But basically, we've got some gardening cages to help you grow tomato plants without having blight. We've got some bait containers that you don't have to dig your fingers down into the water to get your minnows. They're great for ice fishing or fishing from a kayak. We've got the rain gauge. We've got some tent stakes. We've got a ice dipper for ice fishing for those of you up north here with us in the wintertime. We've also got a strainer that was just sold in Menards back from the inventor 25 years ago that just walked into his local Menards, and they said, yeah, we'll take it on. And then he got older and said, do you know of anyone who would want to buy this product? And we bought the line, and now it's been ours for 8 years. So those are cool relationships to have and make and continue the lineage of the product and the inventor that started it so long ago.
Well, that's really cool, because, we get so many inventors that really struggle with that, and, being able to let them know that there are companies out there that actually will do that and that will take over a product and move the product for them. Most inventors know they're not going to get to buy an island. That doesn't happen every once in a while, fantasy land. But for the most part, they get extra disposable income on a regular basis. So they pay for, make a car payment or pay for, a kid's college education. But for most of them, being able to do it all themselves is impossible.
Correct. And even when they come to me, I'll let them know, hey, if injection molding isn't the best solution, I know enough people in the industry, it might be rotational molding, blow molding, something that's better to be stamped out. But as long as you're honest with people, I think they'll keep coming back and they realize, hey, if you're here to help and not just to try to get you shoehorned into needing an injection molded part, I'll help you out with whatever we can.
So what's next?
Next is to carry the torch forward. I'm trying to not fall behind with AI. We're a pretty small company, like I said, with 18 employees, but I still don't want to get passed up. So just kind of keep the knife sharp and in the drawer and always be learning.
And that never ends. All right. Every time you think, oh, you've got this, then there's something else that comes along. So when, as technology shifts, how do you see keeping your folks on board and technology is changing and people are afraid they're going to lose their jobs?
I think we kind of saw that as we started automating. Once we got our first 6-axis robot out there, I think there was a little bit of fear, but within 6 months, people realized, hey, it's just doing that repetitive thing that I didn't want to do anymore. So I'm perfectly fine going to do this other job or the new work that we've brought in or acquired and keep people interested in their job.
Yeah, that's funny that you would say it that way because there's so many folks, it's like, the machines come in and they can do a job more consistently and the repetition, and people don't really want to do that. They want to do something where they're actually thinking and participating and running the business as opposed to stamping the same thing over and over and over again 1,000 times.
Correct. Yes. So those are the repetitive things that automation can help us out with, freeing people up to get more on the job reward just mentally by knowing, hey, I have an input in this. I'm designing my cell where I'm going to be sitting here all day. Here's the parts. They're the ones that are doing all the work. So we usually just kind of let them figure it out. And I'm here to guide them as much as they can. But they usually know more than I do on those things.
Well, I am sure that all of your employees appreciate the fact that you respect them and admire them and really want to be able to have them participate in the running of the business.
Yes, I think it just makes it feel more of a family, and you don't have that a lot these days with businesses, especially some manufacturing. Although we're starting to see more of a turn with some new owners that are actually, bringing back buying lunches and some of those things that don't seem like a big deal, but really are and help keep everyone connected.
So it's wonderful, and thank you so much for being on today. We really appreciate it, and everybody out there, Darter Plastics. darterplastics.com, and go take a look, see what products are out there. And you know what, we love when you buy American made products, and Darter Plastics has got some of their own, so go and take a look, everyone. Be back with us next week when we have another episode of Made in America. And if you're a company owner out there and you are making something in America, please get in touch. We would love to have you on the air. Thanks everybody for being with us, and have a wonderful week.
The sky is splitting open on a line of blackened earth. Cold concrete and rusted steel, the measure of our worth. The grit is in the marrow, the dawn is in the bone. We're building up a kingdom on a foundation we have known. Oh, we are the backbone of America, called from the deep. The promises we made are the ones that we keep. Hard-line endurance under the sun.